Hey there, I'm Tara Pratt. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is a place where all about helping busy moms spend more time with their families and less time in the kitchen, all while getting healthier. Today, I'm really excited to introduce to you Charity Lighten. She is an amazing person. You might have seen we often share her things on our stories. She has a best-selling book. She has spoken at many events, and she inspires anyone that listens to her. She has a master's in nutrition, and she's passionate about disease prevention, and she's actually starting her own coaching program, which I think we're going to talk about in a little bit. And I am just so excited to share with her because she is a wealth of knowledge.
Oh, we should just stop right there. I think that's good enough. That was very sweet. Thank you. I'm excited to be here with you.
Thanks. So do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your story?
Yeah, just a small town Canadian girl, grew up in a great family. I moved to Utah to go to university. I fell in love like so many do. And then my life was baby, 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 baby. That was kind of what I was doing. I always had an interest in business, so I always had small business things on the side, but I had a very distinct experience way back when, 2008, where it was a spiritual experience where I felt the need to really delve into health and wellness and nutrition. Now, my business degree is not anywhere linked to health and wellness, so I was like, wait, what? But I dove right in and was incredibly passionate about particularly disease prevention. I had so many books on nutrition and cancer nutrition and all these different things. So I started really just teaching everything that I learned. I'm one of those people, I'm an oversharer. When I learn something, I'm excited, I have to tell everybody. So I just started teaching classes all over the valley in different states, all about the impact that food has on our bodies. Stuff that we already know, but sometimes we need that reminder. And unfortunately, I had to rely on that when my husband was diagnosed in 2015 with stage 4 colon cancer. And colon cancer is one of those awful diseases. If you don't catch it early enough, there's a battle, and we didn't catch it early enough. So what I will say is I strongly believe that the things that God put into my heart to learn allowed us to have an amazing 4 years together, truly amazing 4 years. But, you know, life happens, and sometimes really hard things happen, and I had to say goodbye for now until the next life to my sweet honey. And since then, health and wellness is still always front and center, whether it's people that are trying to lose weight or people that just want to have more energy, or even just for me, like there was a time I was really sad, obviously, like really, really sad. And what I learned pretty quickly is the things that I put into my body affect all parts of me. Not just, not just the scale or whatever, but my emotional, mental well-being as well. So it's something that I never really stray that far from. It's just trying to always stay a little bit healthy.
Yeah. So what are some tips that you've learned of like how we can be better, how we can stay motivated for healthy living?
Well, I've come full circle. The 20-year-old in me is very different than the me that's right now. The younger me would be like, okay, well, here's the rules and here's the regulation. I went through different phases of being like, okay, well, I'm only gonna eat this and I'm never gonna eat this. Yeah. The new, much more mature me would tell people it really is about what can you do that's sustainable. So when I would teach classes, people would say, okay, well, Charity, what's the very healthiest food, the most healthy vegetable that you can possibly tell us to eat? And my answer then and still is, what will you eat regularly? That's what you need to focus on. So I'm all about making small little changes that you can sustain over time. So I would give you an example. I would say to somebody, okay, what's something that you could do today and tomorrow and the next day and master it for 1 week? Focus on just one thing. When I work with people, I'm not gonna be like, okay, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna spend an hour in the kitchen, and then you're gonna go to the gym, and then you're gonna do this and this and this and this. I'm like, find one thing and then build momentum. So that one thing for somebody that's really getting started, I could say, could you drink 8 glasses of water today? That's it. Could you do that?
And that could be hard for someone.
That could be really hard for some people. And then the next thing I would say is like, okay, could you have a salad at one of your meals today? If they're like, well, I normally have fried chicken, or meatloaf or french fries. Yeah, I would say, okay, could you have a salad first? Because here's what we do know, scientific evidence shows there's a give and take with food. I mean, if you cut something out, you're gonna be adding something in. If you're adding something in, you're cutting something out. So ideally, if I say, okay, well, could you have a salad first? Studies show he will eat less of the stuff that's not so good for him. So it's just about finding that balance between, okay, what can I do long term? Most of the time when people come to me and they're like, okay, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. I would say to them, is that something that you can do forever? Because it's the other thing we know, studies show, if you can't do it forever, it will be this yo-yo effect. And I'm way more interested in giving people healthy things that they can do over time to really make that sustained change.
Yeah, no, so this sounds like something that you're going to be doing in your coaching program. You want to just tell us a little bit about the
Yeah, so I'm excited because all of these different things that I have been through in my life, I think have kind of geared me to this place where I want to share with people. Like I said, I'm an oversharer. So I'm what's called a change coach or an accountability coach, or somebody that just helps people that are feeling stuck. They're like, whether it's with health, whether it's with their regular day-to-day life, that they go, I just need some routines, some rituals, that things kind of help me get going, get that momentum in my life. And so, yeah, people can find more about that at charitylighten.com.
Awesome. Yeah, that's very exciting because it's new, right?
Yeah, brand new. Like I'm just meeting with beta clients right now. So yes. And Instagram, honestly, that's where I'm the most active is on Instagram, which is just Charity Lighten.
Yes, and we love following Charity.
So
she is so inspirational. Sweet. And so apart from nutrition, there are a lot of other aspects of health, right? So what are some other aspects of health that you like to focus on?
Well, if I were to go, okay, well, what's my number one self-care item that's my do or die? It's my sleep.
Yeah.
Like if I don't get enough sleep, I usually have to say to my husband, I'm so sorry for what I said when I was tired. So because of that, because I know that about myself, I prioritize that. There's other things that I'm gonna say no to in order to make sure sleep is one of them. So, and I think I'm not the only one. I think there's a lot of people out there that are like, okay, once I get my sleep in there. Then there's also things like our emotional needs, our mental needs, our, the things that our joy needs, like are we feeling fulfilled? Are there things that we're doing? On a side note, what's interesting is when my sweet love was diagnosed with cancer, instantly I was like, okay, well, we need to cut out this, and this. And we did that. And he was amazing. He was so good at just taking care of himself. But I remember one day looking at him in the kitchen and I could just see like, there was no joy, right? There's an element. Food is part of our culture. It's part of our joy. So it's finding the things that bring us joy. Now, for a lot of people, if it's food and I'm maybe coaching them, I would say, okay, can we find some other things that bring you joy? So it's not the Oreos or it's not the late night donut. It's other things that actually serve you better. Yeah. So, coming up with a joy list. But the more I'm around this earth, the more I realize there's this holistic approach. It's not just one thing fixes this and one thing fixes that. It's about being intentional with our whole selves. I mean, like, I always say which cup of mine is feeling a little bit empty right now? Is it a spiritual cup that needs a little bit of attention? Is it a social connection? Because during COVID, I would sometimes wake up and I was like, I'm just a little bit off. But I'm like, because my social cup is empty, right? So it's just really getting in tune with ourselves to go, okay, what is it that I need? And as a coach, that's part of what I do as well.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's helpful, especially to see like an outside perspective, because sometimes you're like, I don't know what's going on, but something's not right.
Yeah, and a lot of people either don't know what to do next. They're like, well, okay, well, what do I do next? Or they don't know how to be consistent with it. Yeah. And so that's another thing I would say. Anyone that's trying to make a healthy change or be motivated, first of all, I will say this. Just know it's cyclical. We might feel super motivated one day, but just know the next day it's gonna go like this. So you need to be actively engaged, whether it's podcasts that you listen to, books that you listen to, an accountability partner, a coach, something that kind of keeps you up here. I like to talk about the second law of thermodynamics, which sounds a little bit fancy, but all it is things tend to go from a state of order to a state of disorder. Your motivation, my motivation, it's going to be like that. We're gonna be motivated one day. So it's just knowing ahead of time, okay, this is cyclical. How do I keep it up here? And that's really about just being intentional with it.
Yeah, and that makes sense, right? I feel like so often I'm like, okay, now this day I'm gonna be better, and then I fail, and I'm like, okay, and then a couple days later.
But it's not fail. I know, that's what I want to say to people. You're like, it's just cyclical.
Yeah.
Like, well, I tried that. I'm like, well, and it's never a waste of time. Like, you just keep going.
Yeah, as long as you want to try again, like that you just keep trying.
Yeah.
And that's what this even if it's with health, with sleep, with anything, right? With nutrition. It's all about just like keep trying every day.
A little bit every day.
I like that a lot. And we were talking about filling your cup. someone once said that every morning she has to wake up and do something for her first. And I feel like you're often sharing about like your gospel study before in the morning.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. Like we should find something, especially as moms. We have a lot of moms that are following us.
Sweet
and
moms.
so I don't know, at least for me, I feel like I need to wake up and I need to have time for myself to fill my own cup before I can go take care of the dog, the baby, my husband, making dinner, taking care of. So what are some tips that you would say or some advice that you would give to all the busy moms that we have on our Instagram?
So first thing I would say is you are doing so much better than you think you are. Like if I look back at myself and I could just cry. When I was just a young mom, and so many of those moms, you're doing so much better than you think you are. We are way harder on ourselves than we need to be. The second thing I would say is none of your effort is ever wasted, ever. Your effort's never wasted, whether your kids turn out the way that you hope they would, or your meal turns out the way that you hoped that it would. It's never a waste of time or effort. That's another thing that I would say. And just along the lines of what you were saying, I am a big believer in just getting habits and routines down. So for a busy mom, I know this is gonna sound crazy because sleep is one of those things. Just find 10 minutes. 10 minutes a day. Either wake up 10 minutes earlier or 10 minutes during nap time, or 10 minutes where maybe your husband can take over your role for a little minute, and be intentional with that time and kind of ask yourself, okay, what do I need right now? Do I need to connect with God? Do I need to connect with my spouse a little bit better? What do I need? Because no one can really answer that question except for us. So I don't know, I wish I could just hug every single mom out there and just say, you are doing the hardest job on the planet.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm in that, right? My daughter's 9 months old, so we're just beginning this whole journey, but I definitely feel that. And I think it can be hard to focus on ourselves because we're just so often thinking about everyone else. That's important to take time, think about what we need, and then just go from there. Let's just take a moment. I think that's
the other thing that I think I would say too is decide how you want to show up before your day begins. Like literally when your eyes open, whether it's to an alarm clock, to a baby, to a barking dog, you decide right then, how do I want to show up today? That can be one word, that can be, an image or whatever, but that way you take control of you. It doesn't matter what happens with the kids, it doesn't matter what happens with the house that day, but you're like, this is how I want to show up today, and it's powerful. There's an agency there that's super, super powerful.
Yeah, awesome. All right, I will make a decision now. I'm gonna work on that, we'll be better. And I think that is just really helpful. And if you guys wanna follow her, I love following her at Charity Lighten on Instagram. And you can follow us, Gourmet Kitchen Works on Instagram. And that is what we'll say for today.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks for having me.